It's gratifying. People wind up here. They come from all over the world. It's astounding. They come to little Girt Lighthouse. We are in Girt Lighthouse, which was built in 1896 to address a problem that mariners encountered in this area in the days of sail. When they were off Girt, they often were unable to see the beacons of Twin Lights to the north or Girt Lighthouse to the south. They were sailing blind. So Girt was built at the approximate midpoint to illuminate what the mariners called the blind space. And we activated our light December 10th, 1896. We had a 4th order Fresnel lens which could be seen at a distance of 15 miles. Fresnel lenses were named for their inventor, Augustin Jean Fresnel, who was a physicist, an engineer. He was the superintendent of France's lighthouses. He invented the lenses in the 1820s. They quickly became standard in Europe, and then they were brought over here. Earlier lenses, you'd have a light source, the oil-burning lamp producing a flame, and you'd have a reflector, a mirror. The reflector would only capture 17% of the light. What he did was to encircle the light with a network of prisms, hand-cut glass prisms. And his lenses were able to capture 80% of the light. This is known as a live-in lighthouse, meaning the living quarters was attached to the tower. We had 6 individual keepers assigned by the lighthouse service between 1896 and 1939. In 1939, with the expectation that we were going to war, that we would enter World War II, President Roosevelt dissolved the lighthouse service, and he transferred authority of all America's lighthouses to the Coast Guard. So the individual keepers and families, keeper families, were replaced by military men, by Coast Guardsmen. In 1944, the order came to put the lights back on. They put an electric light on the top of the tower, on the roof of the tower. So that meant that there didn't need to be a keeper or military men filling it with oil and cleaning it. It was an automatic, an electric light. And then after the war, the lighthouse was decommissioned. In 1956, this was declared excess property by the federal government, and that's when the federal government put it up for sale. They first offered it to the state of New Jersey, which declined. Then they offered it to the borough, which was growing and needed more space for municipal offices. The town bought it in 1956 for $11,000, and this became the children's library and the recreation center. After about 20 years, the wear and tear was showing, and the building needed a major restoration. So that's when a citizens committee, local concerned citizens, came together and formed a preservation group, the Girt Lighthouse Citizens Committee, which went to the borough and said, give us the building and we'll assume all responsibility for it. The deal that we struck, we lease it from the borough for $1 a year, but we were responsible for the restoration, and we continue to be responsible for the maintenance, covering all expenses, utilities, telephone, any repairs, and we've operated that way since 1981. And it's just grown since then. We now have 400 members. We also get people from surrounding communities joining, becoming members, but also volunteering with tours. And our mission, in addition to maintaining the building, is to keep it open to the community. So this is open to community groups that meet here. It's in use some 200 days a year, and we're also committed to preserving its history. One of my challenges responsibilities here is to find appropriate artifacts that help us tell the lighthouse story. And so people have been very generous in donating photographs, documents, artifacts, tools that keepers used. And much of what has come to us and is on display has been donated by the descendants of the keepers that served here, or the Coast Guardsmen that served here. If we didn't get that material from them, there's a good chance that, as people die and the children inherit something, or they're cleaning out the attic or the basement, they don't know what these photographs mean, or they don't care. And so a lot of valuable historic material gets thrown out. So one of my challenges is to find out who has what we would be interested in. Photographs, letters, documents, diaries, and approach them and invite them to share what they have, to donate it to us. And we have found some very important material. So the number of lighthouses in New Jersey and throughout the country has dwindled, and they are worth preserving because each one was built where it was located for a specific reason. And each of them has a compelling story that deserves to be preserved. But it takes effort. It takes the effort like we expended to save Girt Lighthouse. This needs to be done for all of them. And it takes a lot of committed people. And you have to tell the story, as we do through our Sunday tours. You tell the story over and over and over again, hoping that the people that come through will remember, and that they'll tell other people, and that those people will come. That's how you preserve history. I invite you to join us at Girt Lighthouse, to join us in the preservation effort